Hello everybody, it's Miss Sarei here and today we have story time. Yes, today I bring to you this book that it's called Make Way for Ducklings by Robert McCloskey. The busy Boston streets are too dangerous for 8 little ducklings. Are you ready to follow with me this story? Okay, let's begin. Make way for ducklings. Okay, look at this. Okay, it says Mr. and Miss Miller were looking for a place to live, but every time Mr. Miller saw what looked like a nice place, Miss Miller said it was no good. There was sure to be foxes in the woods or turtles in the water, and she was not going to raise a family where there might be foxes or turtles. So they flew on and on. Look at this. Can you see the pictures? Okay. Now it says, when they got to Boston, they felt too tired to fly any further. Where they got to Boston, there was a nice pond in the public garden. In what place? The public garden, with a little island on it. The very place to spend the night, walked Mr. Miller. So down they flopped. Look at this super cute puppy doggy. And now it says, next morning they fished for their breakfast in the mud at the bottom of the pond, but they didn't find much. Okay. Just as they were getting ready to start on their way, a strange, enormous bird came by. It was pushing a boat full of people, and there was a man sitting on its back. Good morning, quacked Mr. Miller, being polite. The big bird was too proud to answer, but the people on the boat threw peanuts into the water, so the Millers followed them all round the pond and got another breakfast better than the first. Can you see? Okay, next. Okay, I like this place, said Mrs. Miller as they climbed out on the bank and waddled along. Why don't we build a nest and raise our ducklings right in this pond? There are no foxes and turtles, and the people feed us peanuts. What could be better? Good, said Mr. Miller, delighted that at last Miss Miller had found a place that suited her. But look out! Quacked Mrs. Miller, all of a terror. You'll get run over. And when she got her breath, she added, this is not a place for babies. With all those horrid things rushing about, we'll have to look somewhere else. Oh no. He was a kid, going really fast in his life. picture. How cool is that? It says, so they flew over Beacon Hill and round the State House, but there was no place there. All the places that are mentioned in this book are real places. In what city? In Boston. Yes, good job. They looked in Louisburg Square, but there was no water to swim in. Oh no. And now it says, then they flew over the Charles River. This is better, quacked Mr. Miller. That island looks like a nice quiet place, and it's only a little way from the public garden. Yes, said Mrs. Miller, remembering the peanuts. That looks like just the right place to hatch ducklings. It seems like they finally found a place to live. Let's find out. Look at this picture. Now it says, so they chose a cozy spot among the bushes near the water and settled down to build their nest. And only just in time, for now they were beginning to mold. All their old wing feathers started to drop out, and they would not be able to fly again until the new ones grew in. How cool is that? Look at this. But of course, they could swim, and one day swam over the park on the riverbank, and there they met a policeman called Michael. Michael fed them peanuts, and after that, the Millers called it on Michael every day. Look at this, the policeman. What is his name? Michael. Yes, he was a good man, feeding the ducklings with peanuts. And look, this is Miss Miller, and she already hatched her eggs. After Mrs. Miller had laid 8 eggs in the nest, she couldn't go to visit Michael anymore because she had to sit on the eggs to keep them warm. She moved off the nest only to get a drink of water or to have her lunch, or to count the eggs and make sure they were all there. One day, the ducklings hatched out. First came Jack, then Pack, then Lack, then Mack, and Knack, and Quack, and Pack, and Quack. Mr. and Mrs. Miller were bursting with pride. It was a great responsibility taking care of so many ducklings, and it kept them very busy. One day, Mr. Miller decided he'd like to take a trip to see what the rest of the river was like. Further on, so off, he said, I'll meet you in a week in the public garden. He quacked over his shoulder. Take good care of the ducklings. Don't you worry, said Mrs. Miller. I know all about bringing up children. And she did. She taught them how to swim and dive. She taught them to walk in a line, to come when they were called, and to keep a safe distance from bikes and scooters and other things with wheels. When at last she felt perfectly satisfied with them, she said one morning, Come along, children, follow me. Before you could wink an eyelash, Jack, Pack, Lack, Knack, Knack, Quack, Quack, and Quack fell into Just as they had been taught, Mrs. Miller lit the way into the water, and they swam behind her to the opposite bank. There, waded ashore and waddled along till they came to the highway. Do you see that, friends? Mrs. Miller stepped out to cross the road. Honk, went the horns of the speeding cars. Quack went Mrs. Miller as she tumbled back again. Quack, 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 quack went Jack, Knack, Knack, quack, quack, and quack, just as loud as their little quackers could quack. The cars kept speeding by and honking, and Mrs. Miller and the Ducklings kept right on quackly. Do you see? They stopped the traffic. And now look at this. They made such a noise that Michael came running, waving his arm and blowing his whistle. And now, look at him. He planted himself in the center of the road, raising one hand to stop the traffic, and then beckoned with the other the way policemen do for Mrs. Miller to cross over. Look, the policeman Michael, how nice! He helped them to cross the highway. And then it says, as soon as Mrs. Miller and the Ducklings were safe on the other side and on their way down Mount Vernon Street, Michael rushed back to his police boot. He called Clancy at the headquarters and said, "There's a family of ducks walking down the street." Clancy said, "Family of what?" "Ducks," yelled Michael. "Send a police car quick." He was super worried about the ducklings. Now it says, meanwhile, Mrs. Miller had reached the corner bookshop and turned into Charles Street with Jack, Knack, Quack, and Quack, all marching in line behind her. You see all the little ducklings? It said everyone started. An old lady from Beacon Hill said, "Isn't it amazing?" And then men who swept the street said, "Well, now ain't that nice. And when Mrs. Miller heard them, she was not proud. She tipped her nose in the air and walked alone with an extra swing in her waddle. When they came to the corner of Beacon Street, there was the police car with 4 policemen that Clancy had sent from headquarters. The policemen held back the traffic to Mrs. Miller, and the Ducklings could march across the street. Can you see that, friends? palisades right on into the public garden. Yay, they made it onto the public garden. Look at that. Inside the gate, they all turn around to say thank you to the policeman. The policeman smiled and waved goodbye. Look at them. When they reached the pond and swam across to the little island, there was Mrs. Miller waiting for them, just as he has promised. Can you see here his daddy? He's right here. Ducklings like the new island so much that they decide to live there. All day long they follow the swan boats and eat peanuts. You're following the swan over there? Look at them. And when night falls, they swim to their little island and go to sleep. And this, my friends, was the end of this book. Do you like it? I hope you like it so much. I found this book super cute. I hope you like it a lot. And stay tuned. See you soon in another video. Bye.